Hi guys, Frank here from Build Your Own, and this is my 1994 Chevy Cheyenne C1500, and this is my 2005 Volkswagen New Beetle GLS Turbo. And today we're going to talk about 4 cheap mods guaranteed to increase performance, whether you have a car or a truck. Okay, so what are the best cheap car mods for horsepower and increased performance? You may have recently purchased a new car or are interested in improving the performance of your current car, like I am in either my truck or my Volkswagen, and may be wondering what are the best cheap car mods for increased performance. When choosing what cheap car mods are best for you, it really comes down to how much you want to spend. Obviously, some car mods will cost more than others, but which are the best cheap car mods for added performance and maybe even a little extra horsepower, because performance doesn't always mean horsepower. So here are 4 cheap car mods guaranteed to increase performance. The first car mod is wheels and tires. Whether you have a truck or an automobile, wheels and tires is a definite upgrade that you're gonna want to make. Just like a quality pair of shoes, tires are essential to maintaining grip, both on the track and on the streets. Quality rubber is equally complemented by quality wheels, and the old saying holds true here: you very much get what you pay for. Oftentimes, factory stock wheels are made from heavier materials, and tires are intended for economy driving rather than performance. But by simply upgrading to lightweight forged wheels, adding some extra width from stock fitment, and wrapping them in a stickier, more aggressive tire, you'll find your car's ability to handle increase dramatically. For instance, on my 2005 Volkswagen New Beetle GLS Turbo we see here, I like to add a set of 18-inch Porsche Turbo Twist wheels and a set of Michelin Pilot Super Sport tires. As for my 94 C1500, I actually have a set of tires, wheels, and I actually have a set of wheels on order, a set of 17-inch Vision D windows. I'll put a picture up to what those wheels look like. And then as far as what tires I'm gonna get, I'm not sure what tires I'm gonna get. I'm kind of waiting for the wheels to come in. FedEx is taking forever. The next step, once your car has some improved traction, would be to match it with an upgraded suspension. Handling is arguably just as important as power when it comes to a performance vehicle. A car's ability to maintain composure in the corners is crucial to serious driving, and a new set of performance springs or coilovers, sway bars, and shocks can make any modest handling car or truck feel like a track-focused machine. I did say this is cheap car mods, and here I am talking about suspension, but suspension doesn't have to cost a lot of money. For instance, the Beetle actually has a set of H&R sport springs on the front. Of course, I have the box, and so yes, I got a set of H&R performance springs for this for my Beetle, and I've only put the front springs on. I think the front springs are, I'm not sure which ones are the front and which ones are the back, honestly, because I had them put on, but the back springs are still stock, and the front ones are lowered a little bit. I was just actually thinking about adding the H&R springs to the rear too as well. So the Beetle actually does have a set of it does have some suspension work on it, and I actually do want to add some H&R sway bars as well to this. But the sway bars are about, I think they're about $300 and something a piece. I think the springs were like $299 for the set. So it wasn't a whole bunch of money for the springs. So that's what I mean. If you want to go with coilovers, which is a different kind of suspension altogether, it's like a spring and shock kind of combo, like a damper, then yeah, you could spend over $1,000. But there's ways to improve your suspension without going over $1,000, probably in most cases for most vehicles. With the truck, actually the truck, I just put a 4-inch rough country GM suspension lift on this truck. If we look under here, you can see that steering stabilizer is really brand spanking new. You can see that it's got a new rough country shock in there, and then it really came with a new spindle there. You can see a new spindle. It came with a 4-inch with a taller spindle, and then in the back it came with a setup in the back to, we've got a new shock in the back, and then down here it gave us a block. There's a block under here. You see that block right there to raise the suspension 2 inches in the back, and then we got a 4-inch lift in the front. And that was really the reason for the 17-inch wheels, because once I did the lift, these 15-inch wheels, they actually rub a little bit on those new spindles. I actually have some very thin spacers so that these wheels still roll. That's why I've got those 17-inch Vision D windows on order, which brings me to another thing. Sometimes when you make upgrades, you get unplanned surprises like that. Unplanned surprises that could cost you extra money, like getting a whole new set of wheels. I wasn't planning on buying a new set of wheels and tires because these tires aren't even old. I mean, look at these things. I just did a video not that long ago on these what are these non-Kang tires, and I actually like them a lot, but now I'm gonna have to get something new, another wheel and tire package. The suspension lift for this, the rough country lift, was $500 for this, and I spent $800 for installation to have somebody put it on for me. So this wasn't really that cheap, and now I'm gonna have to turn around. I've already purchased the wheels. I'm just waiting for them to be delivered, and so by the time I get done with the wheel and tire package, that's probably another $1,000 on the cheaper end, depending on what kind of tires I put on it. So this lift has ended up costing a lot more money than I thought, but I'm still really happy with it. I actually have a video of the truck getting lifted, so I'll put a link to all the videos related to this Beetle and the truck down in the description below. Okay, so best cheap performance mods, car mods. We already talked about wheels and tires. We talked about suspension and all that. Now let's talk about brakes. Let's talk about brakes, because stopping is a performance upgrade. If your car can stop better and turn better, those are performance upgrades. It's not all about adding horsepower. We'll talk about a little bit of horsepower next, but let's talk about brakes right now. An often overlooked component to complement your ride would be brakes. Braking is essential to performance driving and safety alike. Simple upgrades like better high-performance pads designed for more aggressive stopping and larger slotted or drilled rotors to disperse heat and increase surface area for the pad will transform your car or truck, its performance, tenfold. So here's a rubber brake line. This is a rubber brake line, and it flexes a lot. So swapping factory rubber brake lines and fluid to braided steel brake lines and a performance-oriented fluid can give the driver additional confidence needed to approach turns at a higher speed on the track, as well as peace of mind when trouble arises on the street. So, you know, increasing your brakes, their stopping power and the performance, it's not just for, you know, high performance driving and being on the racetrack and all that kind of stuff. It can help with daily driving situations as well. Brakes, kind of like suspension, can vary in cost. I mean, you can get whole brake kits that cost thousands of dollars, or yeah, you can upgrade your pads and you can upgrade your rotors and spend a minimum, and that's going to vary on car. But I'd love to get some cross drill rotors and some performance pads for both the Beetle and the truck. The final cheap car mod you may consider may seem more on the aesthetic and auditory side of the spectrum, but a proper intake and exhaust has real performance value if you do your research. Aside from the increased engine noise, a proper exhaust system can increase the flow of waste gases, which in turn allows your engine to create more horsepower. Complemented by an intake system, airflow can be increased even more, and depending on the setup you purchase, can relocate the point of air intake within your engine bay to a location with less heat. Less heat generally equals more power. So we can see here that the truck has this Edelbrock Pro-Flo air cleaner. I don't know how much horsepower it really adds. I just think it looks cool. And you know, if I had to measure it by seat of the pants, maybe, you know, some viewer said he saw that I had a throttle body spacer, which is a performance upgrade. It's a cheap performance upgrade. I have a throttle body spacer, and somebody who saw that on the channel said, hey, if you add a 14x3 open intake up on takeoff, you'll feel a little performance increase. So maybe I do a little bit, maybe I don't really know, but it looks cool one way or the other. I actually have a video where I did install this. You can see, yeah, it's all new, the paper element. I just installed it like last week, so I haven't really even driven the truck that much because I'm waiting to get my wheel and tire package, because I don't really want to drive it till I get my wheel and tire package. The Beetle still has its stock intake system. If I were to change it out, it'd be all different right here. I don't know if I'm gonna do that with the Beetle. Part of me wants to add some upgrades to the Beetle, do an ECU flash, do an intake, do an exhaust. but it runs so good. I've spent so much money on it, getting it all right, getting it all sorted out. I've done so much lately to it. I just enjoy the way it runs and the way it looks. So my performance mods might only be to the suspension and the brakes, just to enhance its general performance versus increasing the horsepower. With this truck, that's a whole different story. I love this truck. This truck currently has the 4.3 liter V6 engine in it. And what's going to end up happening is I'm going to pull this engine out. I'm going to put an LS engine. I'm going to do an LS swap on this, but I'm going to do the L96. I'm going to do the L96 engine, and then I'm going to put a 4L70E transmission behind it and do some stuff like that. So this truck is going to get a whole new heart, and that's just down the road. This engine actually runs great, so there's no rush to do that. But future plans will be a V8 engine for this truck. All right, so I was talking about performance and exhaust systems and stuff. This is a FlowMaster exhaust. I don't see if you can see because it says FlowMaster. This FlowMaster exhaust, I got the bright idea that I wanted it on the truck. You can see that I obviously didn't like it on the truck because, well, I put another muffler right back on. That FlowMaster was on this truck for about 3 days, and it probably would have sounded good if this would have been a V8. But with a V6, it just didn't sound good. So I took it off. So I can't remember how much I spent on this muffler, a couple $100 on the muffler, and I might have driven it around for maybe 25 miles, and so there it is. I don't know what I'll do with it, but yeah, so there's the exhaust upgrade. And so sometimes with exhaust upgrades, you know, you change that exhaust upgrade, and then you change your exhaust, you don't like the way it sounds. You know, it doesn't always sound like you think. So sometimes doing these mods can come back and bite you. So how do you choose the right cheap car mods? Well, as with all things, research is key to finding the right part to do exactly what you want it to do. Internet forums are excellent resources to get in touch with some other people having similar experiences within the community. I belong to a Beetle forum. I'm on the old Chevy truck Reddit and things like that. There's Chevy forums I can get on as far as parts are concerned. With things like this old American truck, I just go to Summit Racing, LMC Truck, places like that. With the Beetle, you know, when you have your own car, you could just with the Beetle, I just typed in Volkswagen Beetle performance upgrades, and the top companies are going to come up in the Google search on page 1. So that's generally a good place to start. And then you can start cross-referencing their parts for quality and stuff like that and seeing what other people's experiences are. And then of course there's YouTube, and you've got people like me on YouTube talking about their experiences with car parts like this Edelbrock Pro-Flo or this FlowMaster exhaust and the H&R springs and my rough country lift kit and all that stuff there. So yeah, there you go. There's 4 cheap car mods guaranteed to increase performance. If you found this video helpful, informative, or entertaining, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to put the links to all the videos for this Beetle and the truck that I talked about. They're going to be down in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the very next video.